Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for OnSI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to move forward through yet another season together. As always, you can find our 100% free, 24/7 boots on the ground coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars when you follow us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. All right, folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Today we are, of course, talking about the latest injury news surrounding Jacksonville Jaguars star rookie Travis Hunter. The Jaguars announced on Tuesday that Hunter would miss the rest of the 2025 season and he will not return until 2026. He's about 6 months out from football activities. Here's the full statement the Jaguars released around 3:15 this afternoon. The Jaguars said, quote, "Earlier today, Jaguars receiver/defensive back Travis Hunter underwent successful surgery to repair an isolated lateral collateral ligament injury in his right knee. Beyond the LCL, there was no additional damage to the knee, which Hunter injured during practice on October 30th. The procedure was performed by Dr. Dan Cooper and Jaguars team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan in Dallas. Hunter, 22, will miss the remainder of the 2025 season, but is expected to return within 6 months to full football activities." There you have it, folks. Travis Hunter out for the rest of the season. It has been a depressing couple of days for the Jaguars. It's hard to put it into words. It's even tougher if you think that and consider the fact that they were a Devon Hamilton batted pass at the goal line away from things being even worse. The Jaguars right now are a team that just needs something good to happen to it. And it feels like ever since the Jaguars had what felt like their breakout moment on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs, they have failed to really gain any positive momentum. I mean, even in the one win they've had in the last 4 games, it was a 1-point overtime win against a Raiders team that struggled to move the ball in any professional facet a week previously, 2 weeks previously, technically, against the Kansas City Chiefs. And they scored 29 points on the Jaguars. And they should have beat the Jaguars. Tyler Lockett was wide open in the end zone on a 2-point conversion. They didn't. The Jaguars won. Yeah, it helps the record. Big picture, sure. But if that's the best thing that's happened to the Jaguars since Monday Night Football in Week 5, then they're in a bad place right now. The Travis Hunter news is obviously, I don't know if you want to say as expected. I mean, the fact that, it took about 2 weeks for him to get the surgery. They mentioned after, obviously, on the broadcast, I believe, of the Raiders game, that after the first imaging, that they wanted to get more tests and images done on Travis Hunter's knee. It appears surgery, is the clear path forward. Like I told you guys, being there when Liam Cohen announced that he had the non-contact injury going on IR, he didn't sound like a guy who expected to see Travis anytime soon. I firmly believe a absolute best case pipe dream scenario would be him returning in week 17 or even the playoffs if they make it. It was not in the cards. It's obviously very positive that he did not suffer any long-term damage to the knee. That it wasn't an ACL. Obviously, there were some bright sides to this. But man, after one season now of the Travis Hunter experiment, I'm not sure if we have any more clarity or answers now than we did when they drafted him. In fact, I feel like we might have less. From their 7-game sample size, it felt so week to week in changing and adapting, which I'll give them this. They did say it would be a week to week thing. But it was hard to discern any real distinguishable pattern or rhyme or reason for how they deployed him a lot of times. And it finally seemed like in that Rams game in London in week 7, final game he played, that he will have played in 2025, first 100-yard receiving day, first NFL touchdown, all that. It seemed like in the days and weeks after that game, as they hit their bye week, that Hunter was simply about to take on a larger role, at the very least within the offense. And that we were going to get some answers about Travis's ability as a focal point, or even the focal point of a passing game. It sure felt like they were going to start funneling the passing game through him. That they had gotten about 2 months of trying to funnel it through Brian Thomas Jr., and it just wasn't working, and they were about to shift their attention and their focus and their intent into making Travis Hunter the best receiver they could over the next several months. We saw him really flash at corner as well. I thought he was getting better and better at corner, even if his snaps seemed to be, decreasing each week. Do we now know if he's better at corner or receiver? You can, of course, have an opinion, but do we have any clarity on what his best role should be? No. Do we have any clarity or insight that the Jaguars know? No, we don't, because it didn't seem like they knew during the season. Do we know this is sustainable? No, we don't. Do we know if he had to pick to play full-time which position, which one he would choose? No, we don't. The only thing it really feels like is that it feels like the chances of him being a full-time player and full-time starter on both sides of the ball decreased today. And I say that because I think after a year of just not getting very far with it, plus an injury on top of it, does that lessen the, eagerness to, hey, go out there and play 75 to 80% of the snaps on offense and defense? Which never happened. It was just a presumption by many that it would happen over the second half of the season. Now we won't know. I think the important thing of not knowing about Travis Hunter and the clarity on his role moving forward is how much it impacts what the Jaguars need to do this offseason. We won't see him in an offense with Jacoby Myers now. We won't see what a top 4 receiver, core of Myers, Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., and Parker Washington look like together. And whether that's something they want to make sure absolutely comes back next season. We don't know if he's going to be your number 1 receiver. Jaguars have big questions at receiver moving after this season. And not having clarity on Thomas only creates more. And then that corner, whether Thomas is going to be whether Hunter's going to be a full-time corner or not, completely determines whether the Jaguars need to add a legitimate number 1 cornerback this offseason. Buster Brown's on an expiring deal. Greg Newsome's on an expiring deal. Not to say either one's a true number 1 corner, but otherwise, the guys coming back are Jarian Jones and Jordan Lewis. Jarian Jones has only started 1 game this year, and it's been in the slot. And I'm a really big Jarian Jones fan, but I don't even think they would go into an offseason planning for him to be their number 1 corner. So if it's not going to be Travis Hunter, it has to be somebody. And we don't know. That is the big takeaway I had leaving Tuesday as it came to the Travis Hunter news. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Be back next time.